to come together for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala under the eyes of the Shaykh. If he's not physically present, he's spiritually present with us. And blessings, goodness comes on the Jama'ah, more than we can take sitting by ourselves, inshallah, because Awliya promised to assist and support. And the second part, Dar Shahrat Hafid asked, Shah Naqshband, Allah bless him, he was cautioning us that what you do for seeking fame, seeking recognition, seeking position, seeking anything other than Allah's pleasure, carries with it the seeds of affliction, pestilence. He described it like the insects eat the crops. Only the crops in this case is your good deeds, our good deeds. There's a kind of pestilence that comes when you're seeking other than Allah's good pleasure, you're doing it for fame, to be recognized, to be something. It contains a poison in it. It destroys all your good deeds, makes them to be wasted. It means to do something not for Allah. To do something to be away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Grand Shaykh was keeping that to the extent, Allah bless him, Shaykh Abdul Haqq, our Grand Shaykh, he dedicated his whole life to Prophet. He intended his whole life to be Mawlid, Nabi. Everything he did, he was intending all of it to be as a Mawlid for Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that it means for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He was intending everything, and Allah raised him to a station we only can imagine. Even our imagining is going to be weak. And after him, he said, where Mawlana Shaykh Nasim is putting his foot, no one can know. Allah. And where Shaykh Hisham is putting his foot, no one can know. Our level is the weakest level. We don't know, and we're asking to know. If you learn something, even the smallest bit of knowledge, then quickly you found out there's another part you didn't know. If you learn one hadith and say, oh, it's like this, and go to give a fatwa to somebody, they say, no, you didn't. What about this one? Oh, I didn't read that one. And somebody said, well, what about these? Oh, I didn't know about those. No, those were refuted by so-and-so. Oh, I didn't know. And it keeps going and going and going. What we don't know is always going to be more than what we know. So, Mawlana Shaykh was trying to get us to be humble. Who knows his limit keeps his limit, he used to say. Our limit is ground floor limit. It's safer there. When you stick your head up, somebody's ready to remove it. You know, save us. Save us from fitna. Fitna, fitnati al-qabr, azab al-qabr wa fitnati masi dajjal. To be saved from the trials of the grave and the fitna, confusions of Dajjal, Antichrist, and its doings. Every good thing will be known as no good. At the time of Antichrist, everything is turned on its head. We're seeing like that now. Goodness is known as generally people think it's badness. And what's always been thought of as badness now is becoming goodness. This is the best thing. It should reach its peak in the actual time of Antichrist. May Allah save us. May Allah save us. Some say that time is here. Some say it's only the run-up, the preparation. Allah knows. Day by day, coming worse. Prophet said, my generation, he said, my generation is the best one. And then after that, and then after that, and then after that, down to today, what we're going to have now. How many generations says Prophet? So we have to expect fitna, fasad, and imtihan, trials. We have to follow as best we can or intend to follow Prophet. He said, go to your home. Don't enter into the fitna. What if the fitna comes to our homes? Now no one can say the fitna is not coming to our homes. Fitna enters everywhere. Go to your room. Go to the mountain. Go to your heart. Don't enter the fitna. The one sitting is better off than the one standing. The one standing is better off than the one moving, walking. Don't enter into that fitna. At least don't enter into it. Don't join demonstrations. Don't join, better not to join anything. Everyone likes to give their opinions on the internet. We don't know who's reading those opinions. Better not to. No matter what you say, somebody's going to. If you say good morning, someone's going to object. No, it's evening. So to be in safety. To be in safety, to look after, as Mulana used to say, what's under our own hats, our own scarf. Look after your own business, your own families, your own what's necessary for you, and leave what they're doing. No one is going to listen to the other person now. Everyone believes they're right 1,000%, and everyone else is wrong 10,000%. It's difficult to change people's minds, and or impossible, especially through argument. And you don't know who anybody is now. The modern internet, anybody could be anybody saying to be something. Shaykh said to me one time, I introduced somebody I knew was a journalist in Cyprus. I said, Sayyidi, this is so-and-so, he's a journalist back in the States. He looked at me, said, do you know what's the capital of journalism? I've heard this before, never mind. I'm thinking, what's the capital of journalism? New York, Washington, Paris, London, Moscow, Beijing, London. Thinking how to answer the question, Washington. Tossing these names around, famous world capitals, the capital of journalism. He interrupted me. He said, the capital of journalism is lies. Capital, C-A-P-I-T-A-L, das Kapital. The working capital of journalism is lies. It's always been that way. It's not neutral. Every journalistic enterprise is representing some point of view or some program or some something. And they're putting their things. They said the other day that foreign governments are interfering in the US election by spreading disinformation to confuse people. How we're going to spot the foreign what's confusing us from the other stuff that's confusing us? All of it's confusing. We don't know. Allah knows. We don't know. Best to be busy with our own important job to find out who we are and for what we were created, under which divine names and attributes each one of us was created, each one different from the other. Shaykh Muhyiddin, he drew a diagram, the diagram of this world. He said, this is how this world comes into being, moment by moment by moment, how it is continuously. You'll be what you eat, bringing into being and sustaining it. He gave something to fix in the imagination of the reader. He drew a diagram, some circles connected to each other. The head was Huwa Hay. He is alive. And he said, oh people, I dressed humanity, Zuriyat, Adam, the children of Adam and Eve, in my form. I gave them my form. So each one of us is dressed in a form from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What's that form? Shaykh Muhyiddin al-Abbasi, he said, your form is the form of his attributes and names. He said, Allah is high, huwa high, Hayun Alim, alive and knowing. And each one of us, if we sit and think about it, what we know about ourselves at the root, I'm in existence, I am. What are you? I don't know, but I'm this, I am. I see that I am. Leave where I came from, leave where I'm going. The baseline, I am in existing. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he has the characteristic Hayyun Alim al-Murid. Murid wishes to do, the power of will. He wishes to do this or that, this or that. Yaf'al ma yurid. He does as he chooses. If you think about yourself, I have willpower. I am, and I wish to do, in my nature, I wish to do this or that. Every moment, this or that coming to me to do this, do that. And then, Hayyin Alim, Murid, Qail or Qadir. Speaking and power to carry out my will. Some put speaking before, some put speaking afterwards. After wishing to do, Allah has power to carry out his will. And he gave his human beings, his creations, all of us, power to carry out our will. If we're not in a coma, can't do, if we're all right, each one of us has a power to carry out their will. Even children, from the beginning, they have a willpower. They want to do what they want to do. may not be what the mother wants them to do or the father. They come equipped with a willpower.
Wow.
We have to think about it. Nothing is by accident. I'm alive. Allah gave me life. And knowing that I'm alive, and then wishing to do, power to carry out my wishes, and speaking and hearing and seeing, and then Allah, two arms coming into this world, two tajalliyat. One side, the absolute, one person wrote a book for Shaykh Muhyiddin called The Unlimited Mercifier. Unlimited mercy, al-Jawad. Generous and giving without accounting everything.
Oh.
And then another arm, al-Muqsit. Muqsit, yes, you wish to do this or this or this or this, but I am the Lord, I have power of speech, and I'm saying, do this, don't do that. I'm giving you a wide field to act in, but you have to follow the divine orders. Therefore, Muqsit. One hand, unlimited giving, other one saying, be careful, keep your way. It's enough of a meditation to think about. And then from those heads come all the appearances of the divine names related to either the absolute mercy, either the absolute specification. Specification means also punishments, retributions, rewards and punishments, and unlimited mercy, endless happiness. Coming. It's enough to think, meditate on that, who I am. My Lord made me on that way. I'm connected through Him, through these attributes, through these names. How I'm in existence, how I'm alive and knowing which particulars He gave me. How I'm different from you. Why everything is not the same. Nothing is the same. I am, and you're saying I am. Already. What makes me different from you, or you? What makes us different from each other? Everyone dressed in the form of Allah, and yet everyone different. How is that? What does it mean? Which names are dressed on each one? Every name is not the same. Rahman is not like Jabbar. Qawi is not like Rahim. They're related at their head, but each one is showing something. He said to me, Sheikh Nazim, Allah bless you, and Sheikh Hisham, everyone has a Rabb. They say, Ya Rabb, oh my Lord. Well, your Lord is Allah. Okay. If my Lord is Allah, reflecting the appearance of my Lord, how come you're different? Everyone the same? Yes, Allah, our Lord is Allah. Allah is Jami, the name that gathers all the names. But exactly who is your Lord? Are you Abdul Rahman, Abdul Qudus, Abdul Salam, Abdul Mumin, Abdul Muhaymin? Which one gives you your specificity? I am the servant of my Lord. Which one? I'm the servant of? I knew somebody one time, he had a lot of children. He was going to name the last one Abdul Muntakim. Muntakim, who takes the intercom, the revenge. I say, brother, might be better change it to Abdul Rahman, Abdul Salam. You might. The first one, Abdul Muntakim, take his revenge on, might be the closest ones to him. Be careful. To know about that, to meditate on that. Oh my Lord, who is my Rabb? Under which names I'm in existence? What was the reason for my creation? We're asking, in heavens, there is a heavenly drink, the sharab and tahura. What's the ayat? In Surah Daha. You know, in the last part of Surah Daha, sharab and tahura. They're given it's in the last ruku of Surah Insan. وإذا رأيت ثم رأيت النعيم وملكا كبيرا عليهم ثياب سندس خضر واستبرق وحور وسارر من فضة وسقاهم ربهم شرابا طهورا. Saqahum. Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he used that word, saqahum, that everything I took from heavenly knowledge and wisdom from my Lord, I poured in the heart of Sayyidina Abu Bakr. He gave him that sharab and tahura, the pure drink. When you take that drink, Sheikh Nazim said, you understand the reason for your creation. You come to know your Lord, your Rabb. Who was asking for that drink? Rabbi, Isqina, sharab and tahura. Make us to drink from that drink. Where we can find that drink. Where we can find it. No one knows where they're going to find it. Sayyidina Khidr, alayhi salam. The story goes that he was a soldier in an ancient army. And his group, his platoon, whatever, the small group, 15, 20, the small group of soldiers, they know it's like platoon, they say. They know each other. They sleep together, they eat together, they move together. They were surrounded and trapped by the enemy in an ancient war. And no water. Their water ran out. And he was brave, and he was worried for his brothers in the platoon. And he said, I have to find water for them. And he left aside the danger to himself, and he began to hunt for the water to bring back to his brothers. And he sacrificed himself, his own safety. And he went looking to help the others. In his travels, he found a well, a hidden well, and he fell in. Or one heavenly helper pushed him into that well. When he entered that well, he became Khidr. through that water, Ain al-Hayat, the water of life, they say in Naqshbandi history. He was busy concentrating on a good deed. Allah say, when you're doing something, I'm witness, when you're deeply engaged in it, and you never know. Who says, my Lord is Allah, and you act on that knowledge, you begin to move, busy, lost in that action, Allah is witness for that. And he said, I send my angels. So maybe one angel came and pushed, I don't know. I'm making up hadiths. We'll stop at that point. Something caused him to go in. He was transformed. Muhammad Shaykh said, Allah bless him, there are 500 in Sharia, 500 goodnesses. Mamurat wa hasanat, ordered things and good things to do. Thou shalt, biblical language. And 800, maniyat wa shar, prohibited and bad things. Don't do. Thou shalt not. To do any one of those goodnesses and to leave any one of those no goodnesses, every one of those, to do a good deed or to avoid a bad deed, has a private mercy attached to it that you don't know when it's going to pop out. You don't know. Like saying the Khidr, you're busy. A job opens unexpectedly, something you don't know. Therefore, Grand Sheikh, he devoted his whole life as Maulid Nabi. Whatever he did, he said, for the sake of Prophet. And what opened for him, Allah knows. Doors open. Doors open for Awliya. Not open for ordinary people. They didn't make their intention on that way. They weren't asking. Shaykh Nazim said, Grand Sheikh left me a treasure chest of gold and jewels and diamonds and sitting here with me. Till today, no one asked me about it ever. Who was asking Sharab and Tuhura? Who was asking to know the reason for their creation? Who's asking to know their Lord? No one asking. Everyone asking, should I take a job as a project manager? Or should I go into IT? Or should I open a business in something? People interested in that. No one's asking, La Sayyidi, where I can get the Sharab and Tahura. Alhamdulillah, we found coffee. If we're going to drink it for the sake of Prophet, Imam Buni put in his dua for Fatima, Al-Niyatul Azam, on the pious niyat. You don't know. If you intend one day or one night something might open, you don't know. Maybe somebody listening to it didn't hear the story before, but years ago, there was a woman came to Shaykh Nazim in London. It was old woman. She came to his door and said, Shady, the strangest thing happened today. He said, what was that? I left my flat to come here, home to you, and I don't know what happened. Suddenly, I didn't recognize my surroundings. I was lost. I got lost in London, a huge city. didn't know where I was. You see on the billboard, silver alerts. Well, I was lost. I didn't know where I was. Suddenly, someone, a stranger, came up to me and said, "Oh, ma'am, can I help you? Are you lost?" I said to him, "I'm going to see Sheikh Nazim, my Sheikh." He said to me, I was surprised, "Oh, yes, I know him very well. Come, I'll take you to him." I didn't know what to think. Some stranger comes here, "I take you to Sheikh Nazim." He had something, I was trusting him. Normally, I'm not trusting to strange people like that. But there was something strange about it. Trustable. Firasa. Sometimes you say this person is good, this person up to no good. This one I was seeing was good. So although it was strange, I said, okay, and I began to follow him. And he took me through the streets, and I was looking, and I say, this is London. I recognize it generally, but I never saw such a nice London before. Everything was so clean and beautiful. The streets was covered with emeralds, and the buildings were diamonds and gold, and the roofs were silver. What kind of a London is this? I'm looking. Finally, we came in front of your house. He said, "Here is Sheikh Nazim. Excuse me now, I have to go." And he left, and I found myself at your doors. He said, that person was one of Allah's people. He came to take you to his world. When a person comes to know the reason for their creation, in other words, they complete their job that we came to earth to complete, that we promised we're going to do that job, that everybody forgot about it. If you complete your job to become Khalifatullah, to become the reason for your creation, when you come to drink the sharab and tahura, you'll be taken, you'll be given, not taken, you'll be given a world to be for you, to be Allah's Khalifa in that world, and no partners for you in that world. For you. He can give to one person everything, he can give to another one also. His treasuries is not like earthly treasuries. I was reading an article somewhere, closed system and open system. Science, closed system. The earth is such and such a diameter, and such a area is land, and such is sea, and this much crops can be grown, and this much water can be had, therefore this much people can live on it only. And Allah said, I made the earth wide. Move out on the shoulders of the earth. You'll find many a refuge there. Shaykh said, if you were able to measure the earth exactly, go back with the same tool and measure it again, you'll find it got bigger. Open system. Allah is giving. He may give everything to each one without coming anything less from his treasury. May Allah open our hearts to think about such things, to think about the greatness and generosity of our Creator, and to follow his prophets and Awliya, to try to reach what was stored up for us since the day of promises, to know who we are, what we were created for, to reach that. That's our job. That's our reason for being human beings. But mostly people are not asking that. I didn't see one politician saying in this election, oh people, we have to fulfill our candidacy to be Khalifatullah, to know the divine names with which we were created, to complete our servanthood before going from this life. Oh, people, be busy with your servanthood to learn those secrets, to get those precious jewels before we go. No, no one says that. Or they say, the other guy is no good crook. And the other one says, ha, that no good crook is calling me a no good crook. He's a no good crook. And his friends, capital of journalism is lies. And see, this proves that one's a crook. And I said, that whole journalism is a crook. That one's a crook. And they say the foreign governments are trying to confuse you. We're already confused. We're thinking. We have two choices. Which is the confusion? Either they're going to say this, either they're going to say that. What to be confused? You choose, go left or right. They're coming to confuse you. What? May Allah forgive us and make us to be calm, firm, or persistent. Sabr, patience, has an aspect which means also persistence. Because I would say I give different results. Fate is different day by day. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. Sometimes you gain, sometimes you lose. It is to teach you to be humble and trusting to Allah. To keep yourself fixed on the target. The gaining and the losing wasn't the target was Him Almighty. May Allah grant us. It's something to think about. I'm not writing a book here. Some things to think about. Might be Allah opens a door or a window to get in. To get in. You might find something. Well, Shaykh said, I'm guiding my murids and muridas through their thoughts, because everyone follows their thoughts. Isn't it? That's why you can't win an argument with anyone. They're following their thoughts. No one asks where my thoughts came from. These are my thoughts. Oh, where you got that thought from? Oh. Now they say electronically they're able to beam thoughts into you. The Shaykh puts in the heart or the mind of the murid or murida a target. Something they like it, they like to do it, or they're interested in that. And they follow it until they reach its fruition, its full point, and they break that and give a new target. And off you go in another direction. Endlessly climbing. May Allah grant us to be istiqam, to be firm and persistent up to the end, up to the real point, to the meeting. Ilahi Kala. Even the meeting, Adna, and endless. It's not finite. I came to the last point. Prophet's last point was Kabu Kosini or Adna. The farthest point or closer. So it can always can say or closer. Endless journey to be moving, inshallah. Fatiha. Ameen. Alhamdulillah. Thanks to Allah. Thanks to Allah. He gave something to say. Even I can't understand it, you can't understand it, but something to say to fill the time. He said, say whatever you want. In the time it takes to milk a goat or a sheep, I'll look after the people. and give them what they need through their heart. أشهد أن لا